Boards, games, board games. I might be talking about board games, but I'm not gonna shout. I am starting off this streaming with a little bit of singing, and today it's still technically Thursday, the 1st of August. Somewhere you might be in the very west. That's not more for me to say. And I'll talk a little bit about Thursday. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good whatever it is, wherever you are. 10 a.m. ish UK time, which is not necessarily time for Busy Beats and Board Game Bladder because I'm not doing that every day anymore. But it is today, just for today. I might do it every Wednesday, who knows? Yeah, like every Wednesday seems like a thing. I might start streaming more often. Tell me if you'd like that. But what I want to share today, what I really want to share today, is a few images. And I'm just going to get right into it. I'm just going to, well, when I say I'm going to get right into it, I mean, I'm not going to drag this out for multiple episodes. I'm going to talk about the 4 submissions for the ELL Deck Typography Contest, and I'm going to announce who my favorite thing was. I'm going to talk about a bunch of celebrations last night, and yeah, I'll talk a little bit about Dwindell. So yeah, hopefully that all sounds interesting. If it sounds interesting, then hooray! And stick around to hear more of that. So let's just get the banners up and start talking about recent highlights, living life and seeing the sights, recent highlights, playing games and other delights. Recent highlights. Okay, so yesterday, after making an update, after doing the morning stream and making an update for the things, the definite highlight of my day, the absolute biggest highlight. I mean, sorry, Jack, who sent me stuff and yeah, all sorts of lovely things, but for me, the biggest highlight of the day was getting to go to Loading Bar. And yeah, Jimmy, the owner, saw my tweet and retweeted it. And when I ordered half pint, I was like, it's on Jimmy. Thanks for coming and hosting. And being offered half a pint for free, it's not about the drink. It's not just about the money. And then later I got like another one at the end of the night. I wasn't like taking the mickey or anything, but it's kind of a validation and getting back to that word that I used yesterday, connection. It's about saying, hey, I've respected you and I appreciate you coming enough that I'm going to give you this gift. It's a small gift. It's just half a pint of liquid. Just drinking some vitamin water to start the day off, by which I mean literally water with effervescent vitamins. Anyway, so that giving me half a pint, it's like about that shared connection and saying, hey, thank you for coming. And that's a lovely, lovely, lovely thing. So let me talk a little bit about how the event was and let me share a few photos. Here are, I believe, Garai, Dave, Adam, playing a game about auctioning cubes after winning an auction to become the auctioneer. They were the most laid-back auctioneers I've ever seen in this game, and when it came turn to bids, it would be like, okay, give me money. Like in the past, I've said to people, big up the things that you're selling and entice people to spend more money on it. And people might often do a little bit of role playing, saying, this is a ruby, and like call the red things rubies, or like the blue things like a special material, and yeah, do something like that. Um, it's definitely something I've seen people getting into, saying, oh, I hear 12, I hear 12, do I hear 13, do I hear 13, do I hear 13 from you? And some people really get into that, but here it was just, okay, I've spent 7, I'll give me money. And someone would say 1, and they say more money, and then people would continue bidding because clearly it's worth like 10, and so they would say 2, 3, and then we'll just go back. But there was a hilarious sort of deadpan nature to it, and they were clearly having lots of fun. That was one group that I demoed stuff to. I also demoed stuff to a couple that sadly I'm really annoyed. I wish that I had taken a photo of them. I didn't take enough photos. I only took 3 photos of the evening, but Amanda and Tom, a lovely couple, I shared a game about quickly matching words to pictures, but never words to words or pictures to pictures, which they loved and played twice. And then they played a game of Wibble, which the other player won. So it's kind of nice. And they were one of the winners because at the end there's a kind of raffle and there's actually 2 winners. Then there were 2 other groups. One was a group of 3 people, John, who I know fairly well, John Mitchell, Elena, who's one of the co-organizers, and Eccentric, who I'd never met before. And they started off with a game about selecting 7 cards, speedily searching for synergies. And I was really excited to see again how much they got into it. They played a game and then they wanted to play again, and I joined in, and I didn't quite manage to win. I still never won against people who've played more than like 1 time, so I'm not great at my own game. And hello, Timmy. It's lovely to see you again. I hope that you're doing generally well and you've had some sleep since we last spoke. So yeah, not this group, but the other group. Today I'm just talking about my yesterday, and then I'm going to talk about the contest entries for my contests, which ended on the 31st of July. So the people who are playing a game about selecting 7 cards, speedily searching for synergies, they kept playing, like, I don't know, maybe 5 times or so, and then after that they came over and said, okay, what do you recommend for us next out of your games? And I can't remember, but like at that point I was kind of focusing on 2 groups at the one time. This group here was the next lot to play a game about auctioning cubes after winning an auction to become the auctioneer, and they really got into it. Then they really got into a game about selecting 7 cards, speedily searching for synergies, and then at the end I showed them Questable, which I also showed to Paula and Joe on the top left and bottom right here. And Questable by Kirsten Lunde, and a lot of the level design is by myself and development, but we're working on it together to bring it together. I'm really excited by that. It's a, how can I explain it? It's a mission-based cooperative word game, and everyone really got into it. And it was like, okay, we played level 1. Okay, we'll do level 2. Oh, that was quite tricky. And then moved here. Okay, we'll do level 1. Okay, well, move ahead to level 3. Wow, that blew our minds. Okay, level 4. Wow, level 4 was, yeah, they might be in the wrong order. It's still under development, but everyone really loved it. Level 5 they felt was like such a satisfying conclusion to the chapter, because the idea is that it's almost in chunks of 5 levels. So every level 5, 10, 15, 20, every 5th level is almost like a boss, something to say, hey, here's something really cool and we really want you to play this. And I'm just so proud of what myself and Kirsten Lunde are making. I want to actually, talking about ELL deck games, I'm going to share the ELL deck game of the year. So this is the contest winner for 2021. Sorry, having a bit of trouble there with years. So this is the contest winner for 2021 by Joe Kelly, and I want to talk about Dwindell. Finally, I kind of did a little bit of it. The rules have been kind of available online for quite a while, but now I got my graphic designer to put in the couple of diagrams that needed to be done. Like here's a picture of what it looks like and during play. Here's a picture of what a word might look like, and here's a whole bunch of credits and history and about Joe that you can read about. If you go to stuffbybez.com, I'll type it in, stuffbybez.com/L, and that will redirect you to my Google Drive, where you will get all sorts of rules for the ELL deck. So for those who don't know, the ELL deck originally like that with a tree on it, and then the second edition, oh my gosh, the second edition is in my bag, but should I get it? Yes, I will. Sorry about this. I have a ridiculous amount of stuff, and so the second edition looks like this in this box, and the third edition, which will hopefully be on sale soon, is the Origin ELL deck. There's also the categorical deck. Anyway, so in the ELL deck, you've got a whole bunch of cards, and they've got letters on them. And when I saw Joe Kelly's game, when I saw this game originally, the fundamental nature of it, that, hey, use the lower cards and you'll get a bonus. Sorry, use the lower letters and you'll get a bonus, because those are the hard ones. Use the higher letters and you stay put, but don't use a card and you get a penalty. I mean, that is brilliant. It plays into the fundamental nature of the ELL deck, where that's relatively easy, that's tricky, but the lower the letter, the trickier it gets. And so you've got to make a longer word because you want to use more of the cards. But if you don't use any lower letters, then who cares? But then at the same time, as the game goes on, so originally it was just 5 rounds, which was clearly not the right answer. It needed a little bit more, but in that thing, it was like, okay, you'd reduce the numbers of things. So if you use the D here, because this is a card with a 5 on it, then you would get a card with a 4 on it, which has a slightly harder letter, and then you might get a W, and then you might move to a P, and then you might move to an X or J or K or Q or V or Z as the final thing. And then you need to use that final letter to totally get rid of the card, which feels like a triumph. And getting rid of that card is a big moment. So as you can read in the credits history, I'm not going to reiterate all of it, but there was something fundamentally beautiful about this. And each card that I got rid of was a massive triumph. And so it was because of David Brain saying, oh, the end game should be just having a set number of cards. And that was the final thing that really made it tick, where you just keep playing. And if you're struggling, it might take you 30 turns. If you're doing really well, it might take you, on epic mode, 15 turns. But either way, you are going to get to the end. You're going to experience these moments of, okay, I've made it easier. Where now I've got to use this hard letter, and yes, I managed to make the hard letter. I managed to use something with the V or the K, because that's not easy. And what words have a J in it? I mean, it's easy to use like X in all the 2-letter words, but how can I use this J? Anyway, so Dwindell, if you like word games, if you like playing games on your own, if you like solo games, this is absolutely a game for you. And I hope that you all have fun with it. It was originally designed by Joe Kelly, quite a bit of development from me, but I think it's a fantastic game, and I would love you to try it. And now the only thing that we've really put in is that there's the scoring guides, where standard mode 7 or 8, it's still very good. 5 or 6, brilliant. 4 is the ideal, that's the mathematically perfect. Tricky mode 15 or less, it's very good, where you start with 8 cards. 12 or less, that's great. 9 or less is brilliant, and 7 or less is masterly. And epic 25 or less, still very good. 20 or less, great. 17, brilliant. 15 or less, breathtaking. So I'm not sure I've gotten 15 or less, but Joe Kelly, the designer, who is very good at word games, has. And I kind of used a lot of that, and also my own scores and my housemates' scores and like other people's scores to kind of decide what should these scores be. And I love the names of Ideal, Masterly, and Breathtaking, because that's a 5-letter, 8-letter, and 12-letter word to match the number of letters that you start with. So that's just a little thing. Anyway, I'm really happy with this game, and I hope that people, if you have an ELL deck already, if you have one of these, then I hope that you give Dwindell a go. If you don't have one of these, you know what? Yeah, just for the next 24, 48 hours, message me, send me a joke, and I will send you a link to the low quality version of the ELL deck. So that's from one contest to another. That's Dwindell, the new game for 2023. Like, it's hopefully the big thing, and I'm really hoping that you all enjoy it. I'll chuck that up on Board Game Geek later on. But the other thing that I want to talk about is my own design contest and arts contest. So if I so if I look, there's a typography contest, and I should actually change it to say now closed. 2024 contest opens soonish. But yes, there is a typography contest that I've done every year. The first year it was won by Emily Shaw. The second year it was won by Keris Sullivan with some lovely animals. And this year there's been 4 entries, and I'm going to show you them. I'm going to talk about them and decide which one's my favorite. The design contest, as you can see, I've had 82 entries over the year, over the multiple years, and I'm really excited for that. So I think I've had 9 entries this year, which is a decent number to play through. I have to read them all and internalize them all. This is going to take a bit more time for me to judge than the arts contest. The arts contest, honestly, I know what I want to award. And but yeah, this is, so let's talk about it. the typography contest. Typography contest. Do you like typography? What do you think makes good typography? For me, what good typography is readability and fit for purpose. So in this example, it has to be something decorative. So I said that I'm judging it based on legibility, visual appeal, and theme/visual interest. So aesthetics are kind of there twice. So basically, is it readable? Do I like looking at it? And is it interesting to me? Does it make me smile? So let's go through these in some order. So firstly, this from Alan Wallet. And like, this is genuinely, I saw a photo of this when it was being drawn with pencils, and for me, this just looks gorgeous. I love the lines. I love the intricate detail on here. I love but it's really not readable. Everyone that I showed it to was really struggling to read it. I think one person out of 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I showed it to 10 other people last night, and one person was kind of able to say, okay, that's the ELL deck. Granted, they don't know what it's saying, but like the spacing could be better. Someone pointed out that the letter shapes themselves are quite unusual. Like the counters of the E, like if the inset bits kind of went in a bit more, if the line weight was a bit more consistent with the horizontal lines and the vertical lines. I mean, I understand that's a typographical choice. I understand that here it's like, okay, but then again, like the H, the way that now it's inverted, where the horizontal line is the really thick one, and then the little bits coming off it. So now the rule is that you've got some big chunky main stem and then little bits coming off it, but then that's subverted in the K. So like the internal rules of the typography don't quite work out, and it's definitely not standard. Like more consistent line width between the horizontal and the vertical would make it potentially a lot more readable. And but I do love this. If I can zoom in. If I can zoom in. I don't know if I can zoom in. Maybe I can't. I do love these patterns. Someone made a point that they said that they felt the pattern on the L, while it was really interesting, it was also quite confusing to the eye, whereas the patterns on the other letters were a bit easier to look at. And I think there's a slightly sad difference between the plain blue and the front. But I do love these patterns. Like, they make me interested. In terms of visual interest, I love it. I want to look more. I want to see more. I want to look more at it. And I think that this is just a gorgeous thing. And I want to swim in these patterns. I want to like move them around my body and be like, what's going on here? Like with this little thing, it's kind of got it's like a weirdly organic but not quite realistic surrealism to it. Like it kind of looks like it could be some sort of leaf or maybe a stylized bone, but it's not quite anything. And there's something really cool about that. And looking at it, and it's like, wow, this is so trippy, and I can't quite work out what I'm looking at. And there's something lovely about this. I honestly love these patterns. But and yeah, I do also love the fact that from the H to the E here, the lines kind of blend. I do think that the layout of the words isn't great, but anyway, I shouldn't be too. I genuinely love this. I think it's visually appealing for me. Like visuals, like people are like, yeah, this is nice. And in terms of interesting, yeah, some people like. I think that this is like a lovely thing, and thank you so much, Alan. This is a gorgeous thing, and let me actually share. Do 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 do. Pardon me. Do 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 do. So that was by Alan Wallet, who can be seen at instagram.com/awdesigns/process if I put that into the chat, and can also be seen at haltandwalt.com. And yeah, if you want to check out Alan, go to their portfolio. But for me, that I really love this. It is just looking at it, it's the readability for me, and the layout and the pattern and the background is what lets it down. But the but the patterns like are just gorgeous. Like these are patterns that if the contest had been show me like a big image, like an A4 image of like some pattern, I have no doubt that this would have been the winner. So thank you very much, Alan Wallet, for this, and you can check out all those links which I'm just popping up on the page over there. Now, the second entry, which I want to scoosh over to, is this one. And this is by Dave Weatherall. This was definitely a lot more readable. And when I saw this, I know it's a simple concept. Hey, let's just use lots of emojis. Dave in their notes said that these, yes, they are the icons that Facebook uses, but they seem to be kind of public domain images. And so that's Dave of GGG Games, and I will just link to double check that their website actually leads somewhere. Yep. So GGG Games, if you want to check out Dave Weatherall. I mean, it's readable. In terms of readability, some of the yellow is not as contrasting with the white as it could be. I do like how but in terms of the placements, it's like just really masterfully done. It's like, I feel like it's probably been copied over a established font, but it just seems fantastic. And for me, this just makes me smile. So thank you so much, Dave. And I think someone said also the thing about this is it reflects the variety of stuff in the deck, which I also like. There are some weird points. Like why is this? Oh, wait. Escape. Why is that and that bit? Why are those why are those thumbs the other way around? And just those two thumbs, just on the C. Also, someone else said that from an aesthetic point of view, they wished that it had been maybe even more emojis, but it would have been nice to not have the thumbs because the blue thumbs kind of are so different. But at the same time, and it is a little bit weird, I get it, having like a celebration of this corporate like Facebook, and yes, it's Facebook, but it does make me smile because it's like, yeah, we go through these emotions, and it has become a cultural touchstone. And even though it is sort of giving one website more attention than I was like, it doesn't have to be about that website. It's just about, hey, we we love things, or we're shocked by things, or we care about people, or we laugh, or we like, or we cry. And so for me, and then the colors around the edges, I love the fact that the blue, red, and yellow match these colors of the emojis, and that's really cool. So I, yeah, in terms of readability, in terms of prettiness, in terms of visual interest, that's how I rate it. We've next got this one, which is all about Love, the ELL deck, which is also by Dave Wetherall, who submitted two different things, again from GGG Games. So I do like this one. I mean, it is red, which I am biased towards. I mean, honestly, if you all else, I'm not saying I will always pick the red thing, but if there's two things and they're equally good and one of them's red and one of them's not, I might pick the red one. I'm just putting it out there, just for anyone who's entering the contest next year. Yeah, you get like half a point extra if you. I'm kind of joking, kind of. So again, this is an emoji that Dave said is public domain. There is, I like the way it's laid out. It's there's a tiny bit of inconsistency in terms of what is the top, and I mean it seems to just trying to. So here you've got this C, which this is the top part, and then everything else is underneath it. But then the spacing here, like, feels like here there's like a tiny bit difference. But I'm really nitpicking. I'm really blooming nitpicking. Like, in terms of letter shapes, yeah, okay. I assume they've used something else as a template, but like the spacing and everything is on point. Like, this is just, you can read it. The layout of the words within the frame works, and this is lovely as a visual image. I mean, sure, there's also the ornamentation of the heart, which I'm kind of ignoring, but just from a typographical point of view, it's there. It's like a bunch of hearts. You can tell it's a bunch of hearts, even if the big heart wasn't there. It's interesting to look at. For me, it's like readability, interest, prettiness, and interestingness. And that's how I feel about it. And I feel like I should give ratings to the other one. Like, this is, sorry, readability, prettiness, and interestingness. That's how I feel about this one. And finally, we've got this one from Philip Thank God, which I really love because that's making it a truly international thing. I think this is the third country. So we've had entrants from the UK, from USA, and now we've got an entrant from Nigeria, which is lovely to see. And so so Philip's checks. I'm going to just put that into the comments. these are their details, and you can look them up on Instagram and Facebook. So I really like these letters. I just want to note that the proportions are slightly different to what I specified, but in terms of like, this is a nice drawing. I like the 3D nature of the letters. I like the fact that there's a good variety of colors. I mean, red is definitely in there with the H and the C, but then you've got the black, blue, orange, green, purple, pink, yellow, and green again. Maybe Phillips really likes green. I mean, red, obviously, you've got to have red, but I think that this, in terms of readability, the spacing could have been improved. It's my personal opinion. So, like, between the two E's, like, if there was a little bit more space, and like the word the, like, push that a little bit together, because this kind of looks like a string of letters rather than three different words, if that makes sense. Similarly, between the second L and the letter D, like, there could have been more space. It is hard, and I think that putting it onto two lines is something that maybe I should put a reminder, you can put it on two lines. Everyone, the winners of previous, most people know. So in previous years, we've done the assembly ourselves, and this is the first year that I've said, hey, people, please just submit one image that's already assembled. And but yeah, typography, it doesn't all need to be on one line. Think about your line breaks. Like, and where do you want the line breaks to be? Do you want it to be the L deck, or do you want it to be the L deck? And which one makes more sense? Or do you want it to be the L deck? That could also work. I don't know, but I think that's all on one line doesn't quite work. Anyway, I think that this is a really cool image. I love the fact that it's all hand drawn. It looks nice. In terms of readability, it gets like a definite thumbs up from me. In terms of prettiness, like that D, I'm just going to say, like, that pink is really pushing at my eyes. I like it. I like the grey, kind of, that takes the sort of slightly lighter tone of the letters and pushes them to the foreground and makes them pop a little bit. And so in terms of, is it pretty? I'm going to give it, yeah, it is definitely pretty. You get one solid thumb up. In terms of, is it interesting? Like, here it kind of falls down a bit for me. It's nice. It is decorative. There's no denying that. But I've seen so many 3D letters, and it doesn't feel like this does something super new. But this is like, just, it's a gorgeous piece of art, and thank you so much for submitting it. I do really appreciate it, Phillips. Thank you so much. And I hope that I've, yeah, been reasonable to all these people. So I want to say that all of these people, to my mind, so even though there were 4 entries, there are basically 3 contestants, and all of them are runners-up. So I'm going to offer all of them, some 12 hours of my labor whenever they want that, for whatever they would like it for, whether they would like some illustration or consulting or design work or whatever. I'm happy to give that to them, hopefully like at a reasonably convenient time to me as well as them, and preferably within the next 3 years. Like, after 3 years, it's like, okay, I'll have forgotten about it, and it's like a long time. But yeah, you'll all get a package of games. What else did I promise? yeah, so they'll get a package of games, and the winner, I'm going to say, is this one. For me, this one is it. I know, like, parts of me is reluctant to give it just because there's pre-made, the emojis aren't something that they've made clearly, but putting them together in that way, it just made me smile. And out of everything, this is readable. This is definitely readable. It's pretty to look at, and it's interesting. And I'll always be wondering what is going on with those reversed thumbs ups. I mean, it's not like everything else. Oh yes, everything else is reversed. Yeah, so maybe because that heart care is the other way. So did Dave work on a C the other way around for some reason and then flip it? I guess that's what happened, because I'm just noticing that the tears and I think the laugh and the shock and the angry are actually symmetrical. But yeah, the care and the tears are the other way around as well. I'm just observing. But yeah, it's a bit weird, like that C being the other way around, like just that C. Yeah. Anyway, but regardless, it makes me smile and it makes me think of, yeah, it's kind of celebrating what's going on, and it's repurposing existing stuff. Dave did say do 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 do. There was a note that said, as far as I can ascertain, I don't think they are licensed, so hopefully they are something that I can use freely. If not, honestly, I'm going to give it to this one. So Dave Wedderall is the winner and will be getting some cash, and we'll be getting a little bit of a celebration and maybe a literal song and dance at my leaving party, because we are both there. And they will also be able to show off the winning typography at UK Games Expo 2024 if they wish. And so thank you very much, Dave, for entering. And I really, really like that. Anyway, so that's that. Was there anything else that I wanted to talk about? I've talked about Dwindell, talked about stories about demoing yesterday, talked about the typography contest, the game design contest. I am going to going to have a quick double check of. So I will be going through this in the next few days, and there's no yes, there's no information here. I can share this. So I'll be going through this in the next few days and trying to play them all. I'll give my initial feedback. People will have, let's say, until the end of the month to act on that feedback if they so desire. And then I will consider those final submissions, the final things that are being tested. And then hopefully September will give me time to play them more. And yep, I'll announce a winner, aiming to do it by the end of the year. Some of them might get playtested in Thailand. Some of them, depending on how things go, I might play test them and like with my housemates, and we might play test them together with an overhead camera like I've done in 2020 and 2021. and also 2022. But what I do promise is some amounts of feedback privately to everyone, and I'll see how it goes. In the first ever design contest, I had decided by Tabletop Scotland, which is in the middle of August, I'd already decided, and then I sent out a message to say, this is my final decision. And each year it's become a little bit harder. Each year I've kind of, like, the quality hasn't gone down. This is like what it's all about, the games, the rules. And yeah, I think it's just, yeah, I'm really excited for that. And I'll get back to you all about it at some point within the next months, at some point in the future. But yes, that is thing, and I will definitely email everyone who has submitted within the next 2 weeks to thank them for entering and thank them for being part of it. So I'm really excited for that. And Bez Day is technically going on for another hour-ish, and I am going to give myself a bit of time, so I will have... So Dwindell has been released. If you wish to get my other free game, which is then just send me a joke to stuffbybez@gmail.com. There will be one more free game coming out later on, and I will then send out a mail to folk on my mailing list, because I've realized that I should send more emails to people. And like, a free game is a good reason. I mean, no one's going to say, wow, you emailed me about a free game. But yeah. So that's that. And for now, I guess I'm going to wrap up. So if you've got any questions, comments, please do like, follow. But if anything that you've put in the YouTube, any questions in YouTube or Facebook, I always reply to if you've got any questions. Over to you. What are you up to? You can share Botson if you want to. What are you up to today? Today I am going to draw a quick comic for a game about selecting 7 cards, speedily searching for synergies. I'm going to try and finish writing the rules for my free game. I'm going to try to do some updates and put lots of stuff into envelopes. That is my plan for today. So that is what I am doing. Yeah, if we do 50 envelopes today, that will be a good solid start. And it's not about the number as much as it is maybe 48, because a multiple of 4 is good. Even 24, frankly, just something to get it done, to get it started. Because the first lots is the hardest lots. I mean, I'm not going to say, yeah, we'll just do 4. That would be ridiculous. But 16? No, that's a bit too few. 28. 28's a good number, I've decided. But yeah, just starting to get those shipments out, and then we can really ramp it up tomorrow. So that's what I'm focusing on, and then I'm going to visit a couple of friends, which I'm excited about. But yeah, what's you up to? If there's anything you want to share, please do. I promise I care. And let's recap and wrap up before we finish up. So today, I really had a lot of fun yesterday. It was fantastic being at Tabletop Scotland in Loading Bar in Shoreditch. Thank you to Tim for having me as a featured guest, and it was such a delight. And yeah, they've now got a bunch of my games in their library, and I hope they spend a lot of, share the joy. Then I talked about the images, and all of these are beautiful. Like this one, I just want to smother myself with this like trippy world of like abstract shapes and leafy foliage. That kind of, I mean, the repetition within the letters is kind of like, wow, okay, what's okay, there's something going on. But then I delve into each one and I'm like, okay, what's going on with it? Is it flora? Is it like, does it bear any sense? I'm like, this is just beautiful. But like, this the ultimate winner. The readability is, I mean, everyone said, yeah, I can instantly read this. And well, one person out of 10 said, oh, I wish the blue wasn't there, so it would be just the reds and the yellows that might be more aesthetically pleasing. And I can sort of see where they're coming from. I mean, red is a good color, yellow's a fine color, but it makes me smile. It's readable. And yeah, the focus is on the letter shapes. And I know that, yeah, like just the spacing of everything is on fleek for sure. Similarly here, like I think this might have used a very similar template. I'm assuming. I just no, actually, that C looks totally different. The C here is much more kind of. It's got a totally different curve around here. Like this one is definitely more readable, but it just doesn't have the interest for me. And this was also some people's favorite. And this one, it's I love the handcrafted nature of it. I love the fact that it is like these 3D letters. I love the use of negative space, like the gray, to bring the white of the letters out. And I want to thank all of these artists. Phillips, thank God, Dave Weatherall, and Alan Wallet. Thank you so much for contributing. Now, for the design contest, I'm not going to name anyone, but yeah, there will be games, and I will at some point, maybe in September, I might rewrite them and share them with people who are interested. If you're interested in playtesting, then let me know, and I would love that. So for now, that's it. Share, spread the word. Thank you very much, everyone who's here. I am stuffbybez.com. I've got a shop. I've got a Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, YouTube. And if you want to check my Discord out, then go to stuffbybez.com/Discord, and that will redirect you to my Discord, where I talk about stuff that I'm working on. And in my Discord, please feel free to, you are encouraged to talk about games that you've been recently playing. There's a new system that I've got where each game should get its own sort of channel, and then you can just click and make your own channel for, hey, this is a game I've enjoyed. And if there's something you're working on, like a new project, just click on it and you make a new channel, and then it's like, oh, this is my new game I'm working on. And then we can ask you about it, and then whenever you do an update, you can tell us about it. And that's what I'm hoping, that it can become a thriving thing where we share information, and we share information about games. That's the end. And for now, all that's left to say is, as always, bye, 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 bye. This is a goodbye song for YouTube. Bye, 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 bye. Thank you for watching along. Bye, 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 bye. This is the end of the show. Bye, 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 bye. And now it's time to go. Bye, 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 bye. This is a goodbye song. Bye, 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 bye. Thank you for watching along. Bye, 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 bye. This is the end of the show. Bye, 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 bye. And now it's time to go. Bye-bye, bye-bye, bye-bye.